Crisp autumn morning. Everything is beginning to change as we move from season to season. It's hard not to be inspired by the beauty of all of this change, but we're not always inspired by that beauty. We often want to cling to some idea of how we would prefer things be, rather than looking at things as they are. I want to talk to you about a case from the Shōyōroku today, or the Book of Equanimity. It's the third collection of koans that I tend to work with students, and it's the 12th case. It's called Jizo Plants the Field. Attention. Priest Teisho asked Priest Shusan, "Where did you come from?" Shusan replied, "I came from the south." Jizo replied, "How is the Buddha Dharma down south these days?" Shusan answers, "Oh, there's a lot of debate going on." Jizo said, "Here, it's better for me to plant the fields, make rice balls, and eat." Shusan said, "Well, what about the three worlds?" Jizo replied, "What is it that you call the three worlds?" That's the entire case. Koans are meant to use words and language and concepts and constructs in a way that point beyond those concepts and constructs. If you try to work with them from the perspective of logic or reason, you're going to find yourself very dissatisfied very quickly. You're going to find yourself spinning around in a circle constantly. But when you let that drop, you'll see that the wisdom emerges naturally and organically. You just have to know where to look. So all mondos like this are dialogues that beckon us beyond our place of knowing. This isn't a conversation that they're having about geography or cosmology. It's a call to break free from the habits that don't serve us, from the karmic constructs that keep us blind and that keep us deluded. It's a way of moving beyond our habitual entanglements and approaching life freely and openly and taking things as they are. So Jizo begins by asking, "Where did you come from?" Seems like a simple enough question. But beware, right? When you have these mondos, they're generally pointing to something other than your ordinary discursive way of thinking. So there's a profound challenge here. What Jizo is really trying to ask is, where you came from in the deepest sense. Not just in terms of your physical location, where are you coming from, where are you going, but where does the self arise? What gives rise to the conditions, or what conditions give birth to this I that we tend to take so very seriously? How do you construct the self? And can you see what lies beyond it? How is this I serving you in your day-to-day walk, How is it serving you? Or rather, are you serving it? Are you serving some notion of what you think you are, rather than acknowledging and accepting your true nature? Shusan's response is, "I came from the south." That shows where he's dwelling, right? He's snoring. He's not seeing where Jizo is pointing. In the realm of the discursive, he's in this place of labels and judgments. But Jizo doesn't want to leave him there, right? And so in a kind of act of kind mercy, he shifts the focus to call him home. How is the Buddha Dharma down in the south these days? Well, now we're getting closer to the heart of the matter, right? How is the Buddha Dharma down south, or north, or up, or down, or anywhere else for that matter? How is the Buddha Dharma? Where is it? Where is the teaching right now? It's not in some dusty book somewhere. And it's certainly not coming off the lips of some middle-aged person prattling along, sitting on a cushion, right? The Buddha nature, or the Buddha Dharma, is the nature of all things, the inherent reality that underlies all phenomena You don't have to look far for it. Yeah? It's everywhere. It's everything. So why should it be located in one place or another? Yeah? Let alone be different in those two places. When he asks this, Jizo is urging Suzan to see through his attachment to concepts like north, south, yeah? And trying to get him to stop looking for where he thinks it should be, and just opening to where it is right now. Yeah? If we see beyond the mind's tendency to divide and label, then we're able to show up authentically. Then we're actualized by what's present, rather than looking for some special occasion where this I fits into the narrative and we're able to have a few words. Unfortunately, this doesn't awaken Shōzan from his slumbers, yeah? He asks him how things are going down there. He says, oh, there's a lot of debate going on. Oh, isn't there, huh? Isn't there always? Yeah. The playground of the conceptual mind. The more we cling to fixed ideas, the more we take a stand, the more we find ourselves debating, grasping, defending. This is where the world gets entangled in these dualities. And they wind up weaving a new reality out of those attachments by acting in accordance with them, right? They manifest it into the world. Yeah. When we live in the worlds of concepts, then just mark it down. Debate is inevitable, but it never is solvable. The very nature of duality is this consistent debate, setting one thing up against another, setting the things up we like against what we dislike. That's the primal disease of the small mind. That's how it works. That's the dialectic that pulls it through life. When we're lost in opposing views, we lose sight of the true essence of our original nature, which is far, far beyond any words or concepts, any ideas we could use to label it. So we live, or we dwell in this world of debate and division. Through our endless political arguments, the clashing of ideologies, all the isms that we cherish and cling to, and as long as we stay trapped in those realm of ideas, we continue to perpetuate the problem. It's like the Buddha's teaching on the two arrows. The first arrow, yeah, definitely manifests as pain, maybe even a little bit of pressure. Yeah? The inevitable hardships that we're going to encounter. Yeah? But that second arrow is self-inflicted. Yeah? That's the suffering we create when we start assigning blame, when we fuel those stories of right and wrong, and when we get stuck in our heads, rather than able to show up and manifest the compassion that we want, that we know needs to be brought to bear if the situation's ever actually going to be addressed. Jizo's response to all this, how does Jizo answer all of these concerns? All of this debate questioning? Here, it's better for me to plant the fields, make rice balls, and eat. That's it, huh? So simple, and yet it contains the whole of the Buddha Dharma in that short example. There's a famous Zen story that illustrates the heart of this teachings. There were two Zen students were discussing their masters. One student boasted about the miraculous powers of his teacher, saying, "My master can perform amazing miracles. He can walk on water. Yeah? He can fly through the air, and he can heal the sick with just a touch." The other student listened quietly and then finally responded, "That's impressive. But my master's miracles are even greater." Intrigued, the first student asked, "What can your master do?" And he said, "When my master is hungry, he eats. When he's tired, he sleeps. I might add, yeah. If it's crying, he comforts it. Yeah. If it's separate or apart, he embraces it and knits the wholeness again." This story cuts right to the essence of Zen practice. True wisdom is not some rarefied magical plane. Yeah? It's here in the present, right now. Being present with what is, the ordinary acts of eating when hungry, sleeping when tired, comforting those who are in pain. Yeah? One expresses complete harmony with the vast Dharmakaya. One is actualized by the moment and by the need of what is present. It's beyond the need for special powers, beyond any philosophical debate. When we live in this way, then we actually find the magic. Don't discount it. Yeah. So much magic that goes by unheeded. The changing colors of these beautiful trees, a flag fluttering in the wind. Yeah. The joy when we come back together again to sit and practice with one another, having not seen each other for some time. These are the miracles of everyday life that are often missed. When Jizo plants the fields and makes rice balls, he isn't escaping or ignoring the Buddha Dharma. He's actualized by the Buddha Dharma. Shusan, at this point, though, still isn't ready to let go. Yeah. He's been a student of the Dharma for some time. After all, he's a priest. Yeah. He says, well, what about the three worlds? Certainly there are teachings that stand in contradiction to the simplicity of what you're trying to espouse. Yeah. The world of desire, the world of form, the world of formlessness, these are all real, actual things, aren't they? These three worlds are often spoken of in Buddhist cosmology, and we all, frankly, move by them moment by moment in our practice. In the world of desire, we feel the pull of cravings, of wanting things to be a certain way. And when we work in the world of form, we work with what is. We cultivate mindfulness, working with our bodies and minds in practice. And all this points to the formless essence, right, where we let go of all distinctions, all attachments, and we experience reality as it truly is. Boundless without separation. Certainly those are at play, aren't they? What about those? Jizo's final response is the key. What is it you call those three worlds? As long as you cling to the idea that these three worlds are separate from yourself, separate from your lived experience, separate from the life as you live it right now, you remain trapped in conceptual thinking. But in truth, there is no gap. There is no separation. The three worlds are not external realities to be conquered, right? Somehow transcended by our intellectual might. Yeah? They're right here in every moment if we just embody the imperative that's present. You'll know just where to put your next footstep. Just always walk in the direction of suffering. Always walk into addressing that suffering wherever you find it. It begins by addressing the suffering in our own hearts. But then our gaze is shifted all around us. All the things that we see that we consider to be separate, or we consider to be wrong, or we consider to be bad. Just throw your whole self into those activities. Burn yourself up in the practice of compassion through the action of this moment. Yeah. This case is pointing, it's beckoning us to a place that's beyond. Yeah. We need to drop our attachment to the ideas and the concepts about what our life should be. Yeah. Stop overcomplicating things. Your life is as it presents itself right now. The Buddha Dharma isn't something to be debated, isn't something to be dissected. It's something to be lived. Something to be lived in this moment. Yeah. In the most ordinary activities, we'll find it. Yeah. From washing the dishes, to comforting somebody in pain, to celebrating when somebody is excited or happy about some event in their life. As Jizo shows us, the true path is not in the south, it's not in the north. It's right here, right now. It's not in any particular place. You're going to find it right where you stand. You find it when you plant the fields, when you make rice balls and you eat. Right here, right now. Supporting one another in practice. Coming here together as a Sangha and sitting.